Hello and welcome back to High School History. Today we're going to talk about how you can completely supercharge your Google Slide presentations into a fully interactive module with your students inside your classroom. By interactive presentation, so far a lot of us feel that if we put some links and the students can click on that and research further, we think this is interactive. But I don't mean that. I mean that in the classroom, you will be able to push your presentation onto the student devices, and they will progress only when you move ahead with your slides. You will be able to ask them questions and they'll be able to answer right in physically while they're still with you in the classroom. So a very easy way of doing that is by using an add-on called PearDeck. So we're going to try and get the PearDeck add-on for your Google Slides. So what we do is we go to this button called add-ons, click on that, and we then go to the drop down to get add-ons. We click on this, and well, I'm already getting Pedegg here. Now in case you don't get Pedegg automatically on your screen, you can type Pedegg here in the search bar and it will throw up Pedegg for you here. Now you can see this is a free to use add-on. So all you need to do is click on this plus, the blue plus button, which also shows free written. We click on this and just give it a little time to set in. It will ask you to choose an account, which we shall. It asks for some permissions, which you can safely go ahead and allow. And there you are. The add-on is here, and you can see this little working button at the bottom, which has just disappeared. It kind of tells you what it will do. Right. So you can see that this sidebar has opened up, which allows you to add different kinds of questions. And if you scroll up, here you can actively ask questions. And here are some ready-made templates that you can use. So we will look at these options very quickly. So you can ask text-based questions, MCQs, numeric questions, or move them to websites. Students can draw or drag in items. So as you can see that this is a bit premium in nature, so we will leave that for now. We will use the free version. So both of these that you have these stars on would be part of the premium version, but we'll work with the free one. So what you can start with is the beginning of the lessons. So you can click on this and you have different types of questions that you can ask. So for example, if we are working on the European Renaissance, you could ask the student, what do you want to know about today's topic? Or draw two types of things that you already know about this topic, or what did you learn from the homework that you may have given previously. So we could add this perhaps, what do you want to learn in this topic? And this little window opens where it helps you insert a new slide, right? So we could just leave the question as it is. What do you want to know about today's topic? And as you have seen, this new thing gets added at the bottom of the slide called students write your response. So when you move to this slide while you're presenting, the students are required to write a response and it will show up on your screen. We will look at a demonstration of this in a bit. Let's say you've moved on to Galileo and now you want to ask them another question. So we are now at the middle of the lesson, so we can add perhaps questions from during the lesson. So summarize what you've just learned, write down why these events are important, or you can have something like a multiple choice slide which asks for true or false. So we could choose this for our next slide. So you will see that Pedegg is inserting a new template slide just after Galileo. So is this statement true or false? So you can actually add or edit this statement. So we will say that Galileo invented the telescope. So the students can mark true or false, right? Now we will not fiddle with this part of the slide at all. This is absolutely essential for running the Pedegg when we actually present our lesson. So let's assume we have completed the lesson, right? And we go back and look at end of lesson questions. So in 1 minute, write the most important thing from today's lesson. Pretend your friend was absent today in class. So what would you tell them? You can draw or you can circle how you're feeling. Let's say we add this slide where we, again, you can see Pedegg is adding a new template slide. And in 1 minute, write the most important thing from today's lesson. So you can use this as an exit ticket for your slide. Let's look at some other options of asking questions. All right, so let's say you do not want to use any of the templates from here. You can create your own questions. So for that, what we will do is we will add a slide and then go down to ask students a question and opt something from here. So let's say we want to ask a multiple choice question. So this is going to add that template onto the blank slide that we've just added. And we go on and we add options. So thing A, thing B, and thing C. You can add another if you want, but if you think that 4 options is too many, you can actually go back and cross this out and leave it to just 3 options. And you click on update slide. This is going to further edit your slide deck. And there it is. So if you look at the bottom where you have the presenter's notes, so let's say you've already added the question, you may add the question here. So something about the last supper. The last supper, if you remember, was our previous slide. So you're asking a question on this. And so let's say this was the question you were editing. Question mark here. And the students will then, in their presentation, get those 3 options. And as the students choose an option, it's going to show up on this screen. Right, so now that you've got the hang of it, or shall we try a text question as well? Let's try the text question. So we study the Duomo for a bit and we add another slide and then we go into a text question. Here the students will be answering as a text and we can update this. So we ask the question, who built the Duomo? So that's your question. And yeah, this is going to take a little bit of time. And there you are. And the students, of course, will write their answers and on your screen as you're presenting, it's going to come up. So let's now go up and start presenting the lesson. So what happens is it's going to be loading. Depending on the speed of your internet, it might take some time. There you are. And what the presentation does is, you see, so your students are going to click on joinpd.com and then this is the code that students will type in. Right, so you can see that students are beginning to connect and we can start the class. So here you are, and you are the one who controls the presentation from here. And so this is what your students are going to see on their screens, as well as what you are going to be presenting, right? So what do you want to know about today's topics? So students are going to answer the questions. So let's say, I'd like to learn about art, and let's show the responses. So you have a student who's saying, I'd like to learn about art. Someone else might want to say mm, um, something about astronomy. So something about astronomy. So your students, and this is, as you have noticed, is also anonymous. So students are not going to be afraid about giving the incorrect answer. You move on to the next slide and we go on. And is this statement true or false? Oops, I'm sorry, I misspelled this, but doesn't matter as of now. So we're going to say true. And we go to show responses and we have the student marking true or false. So this also, as you've noticed, is going to be anonymous. So students are not going to be afraid of being wrong, but it does give you an idea. If you have more incorrect answers than correct ones, you can actually go back and correct the concept and then move on with the rest of the lesson. We move on, yeah. And here we are, we had asked a text question about the Last Supper. So let's say, who painted the Last Supper? Let's answer the question and say thing B. And we show responses. So you see that students are marking the various options that you have given them. We move on with the slides. And who built the Duomo? This would be, again, anonymous. Let's say this was the text answer we'd asked for. And let's say the student writes A, B, C, D, and you want to show the responses. So you've got a student writing A, B, C, D, and X, Y, Z. So again, if you notice, these are anonymous answers. So again, students aren't afraid to call out, yet they also get excited when they see their answers coming up on screen, and you do have a reasonable amount of engagement, or rather a very good amount of engagement with the students. We move on, and we had that lesson end that we talked of, and here we are. So in 1 minute, write the most important thing from today's lesson. So I learned that change takes place when people question accepted wisdom. So there you are. So this is what your presentation is going to look like. What do you think about this add-on? Let me know in the comment section below. And PearDeck is right now one of my favorite tools that I use in my classroom with the students. Students can use this along with mobile phones or with Chromebooks or whatever other devices that you may have. If you don't have computers in your classroom, you can take them to the computer lab and they can work there. So there is no end to how you can use technology to enrich your day-to-day teaching. I hope you enjoyed today's video and I will see you again. Bye-bye.